Hi guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we'll be covering what are hardware components used in computer networks. We also call these hardware components as hardware devices. And I will explain types of network connections. We also call it as transmission technologies. And I will explain what is magnetic media. We also call it as storage devices. And I will explain what are power lines. I will explain all these topics in detail. Guys, I have uploaded complete computer network subject tutorials. I will provide that link in description. You can watch from there. If you are watching this video for the first time, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Let's get started. Guys, at first I will explain hardware components of computer network. Guys, computer network needs different kinds of hardware parts to work properly. These are some of the important hardware components. And the first one is computer. Guys, computer is the main device in a network. By using computer, we can send and we can receive information in the network. For example, we can send information like messages, songs, movies, etc. in a network by using computer. Guys, in computer network, some computers act as clients and some computers act as internet service providers and some computers act as servers. I'll give one example. Guys, for example, I want to purchase mobile below 10,000 rupees. So what I will do is, I will open Google and I will log in into Amazon website and then I will search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees. So whenever I search for mobiles below 10,000 rupees, this request is passed to Amazon company server. Guys, Amazon company contains various servers. In the servers, complete product details are stored. So whenever I send request like mobile below 10,000 rupees, this Amazon company will display me complete mobiles below 10,000 rupees. So as I am sending request, I act as client. Client is the computer which always want information. As I want information like mobile below 10,000 rupees, act as client, and server is the computer that will provide us information. Thus, if you want to communicate in a network, we need internet connection, and this internet connection is provided by internet service providers. For example, if you consider JioNet, Active FiberNet and AirtelNet, all these are internet service providers because they will provide us internet connections. So, internet service providers are the computers which will provide us internet connections. So, in computer network, some computers act as clients, some computers act as internet service providers and some computers act as servers. And second one is network interface card. Shortly we call it as NIC. Guys, NIC is the device that is present inside your computer. And by using this device, we can connect to network. And we also call this device as network adapter. Guys, in computer, NIC card is attached to motherboard. And we will connect the network cables to this NIC card. And this NIC card is used to control flow of data in the network. That is nothing but data is passed in the network by using this NIC card. And third one is hub. Guys, hub is the device that will connect to multiple computers in local area net. And this hub is very cheap and easy to use. Guys, for example, this computer want to send data to this computer. Even though single computer want data, hub will send data to all remaining computers connected to it. So hub will send data to all computers connected to it. Guys, hub can send data and as well as it can receive data, but it cannot do both operations at a time. So hub is very slow when compared to switch. And fourth hardware component is switch. Guys, we call switch as smart hub because if you consider hub will send data to all computers connected to it. Even though if single computer want data, hub will send data to all remaining computers. But whereas if you consider switch, instead of sending data to all remaining computers, switch will send data to only that particular computer which want data. For example, this computer want to send data to this computer. So switch will send data to only particular computer which want data. It will not send data to all remaining computers. It will send data to only particular computer which want data. And whereas if you consider hub cannot send and receive data at a time. But whereas if you consider switch can send data and receive data at a time. So switch is fast when compared to hub. Guys, for example, if you consider engineering college computer labs, in computer labs, all computers are connected to a device called switch. On top, you can see one small box where all computers are connected to that box. We call that box as switch. And fifth hardware component is router. Guys, router will connect different networks together. Guys, for example, if you consider Wi-Fi in your house, just by using router, we can connect to Wi-Fi and we can access internet. And by using internet, we can chat to people who is in other countries. So router will connect to different networks together and this router will choose best path for data to travel. Guys, we can connect devices to router either by using wires or wireless. And we will use routers in complex networks like internet. We will use routers in internet. Next I will explain difference between switch and hub. The switch is fast because it will send data to only particular computer which want data. And whereas if you consider hub is slow because it will send data to all computers connected to it. Guys, in switch, there is no bandwidth wastage. Bandwidth is nothing but maximum amount of data that can be traveled in a network. We call it as bandwidth. So in switch, there is no bandwidth wastage. That is nothing but no data wastage. And whereas if you consider hub will waste bandwidth because it will send data to all computers connected to it. So there is bandwidth wastage. Guys, if you consider switch is full duplex. Full duplex means switch can send and receive data at the same time. This is meaning of full duplex. And whereas if you consider hub is half duplex. That means it cannot send and receive data at the same time. Switch is expensive when compared to hub and hub is less cost when compared to switch. Next I will explain difference between router and switch. Guys, router will connect to different networks and whereas switch will connect to same networks. I will explain what is meaning of different networks and same networks with an example. Guys, for example, there is one college. In college, there are 3 floors. Each floor contains one computer lab and computers in all these floors are connected by using switch. So by using switch, all these computers can communicate directly. So in same network, there will be direct communication. With the switch, all computers can communicate directly. This is meaning of same network. Guys, for example, there is an office. In this office, one branch is located in one area and other branch is located in other area. And these both branch offices cannot communicate directly because they are very far. So this is one network and this is other network. If these both networks want to communicate each other, we need router. So by using router, different networks can communicate each other. Guys, whereas in same network, all computers can communicate directly by using switch. And whereas if you consider router will connect to different networks. This is one network and this is other network. Both are connected by using router. So router will connect to different networks and switch will connect to same networks. As router will connect to different networks, it is more advanced and switch is less advanced. Guys, router will identify devices based on IP address and switch will identify devices based on MAC address. I will explain what is IP address and MAC address. Guys, for example, if you consider any person, we can identify that person by using Aadhaar number. So we can identify any person by using Aadhaar card. And for example, I purchased a laptop, that is Dell laptop, for example. And we can identify this device by using MAC address. So MAC address is nothing but it is one of the number given by manufacturer of the company. For example, whenever I purchase Dell laptop, this Dell company will give me one number. We call that number as MAC number. Based on that MAC address, we can identify device. Let's for example, I took internet connection from Jio Fiber. Thus, whenever I took internet connection, that company will provide me one address. We call that address as IP address, where IP stands for Internet Protocol Address. And that IP address is given to our router. Guys, IP address is nothing but it is the number. Based on that IP address, we can access internet. Guys, MAC address is provided by company manufacturer, and whereas IP address is provided by internet service provider like Jio, Act FiberNet, etc. They will provide us IP address. Based on that IP address, we can access internet. Guys, MAC stands for Media Access Control. Guys, switch will work based on MAC address. For example, this computer want to send data to this computer, and this computer will identify this computer based on MAC address. I already said before, it is like Aadhaar card number. Person contains Aadhaar card number to identify him, and whereas devices contain MAC address to identify devices. And this MAC address is given by company manufacturer, and each and every device contain unique MAC address. So this computer will send message to this computer based on MAC address. And whereas if you consider router will work based on IP address. As for example, this computer want to send message to this computer. As I already said before, IP address is provided by internet service provider. Each router contains different IP address, and this computer will send data to this computer based on IP address. So router will work based on IP address and switch will work based on MAC address. Guys, if you want to use router, at first you need to set up router. So for router, you need setup, and whereas if you consider switch, directly we can plug in our computer to switch and we can use. There is no need of any setup. So for most of the switches, we can directly plug in our cable and we can use. These are differences between router and switch. Guys, next hardware component is bridge. By using bridge, we can connect to similar networks. Let's for example, there is one big office. This office contains 3 buildings side by side. So this is one building, this is one building, and this is one building. And all these devices are connected by using bridge. So bridge will divide big network into smaller parts, so devices can communicate faster. Thus we are connecting 3 buildings which are side by side by using bridge. This is example. And seventh hardware component is gateway. Guys, by using bridge, we can connect to similar networks. And whereas if you consider gateway, by using gateway, we can connect to different networks. I'll give an example. Guys, for example, software company contains 3 branches. One branch in Hyderabad, next branch in Delhi, and next branch in Bangalore. And this is one local area network, and this is one local area network, and this is one local area network. And all these are different networks because they are in different locations. And by using gateway, we can connect to different networks. So each network will follow different protocols for communication. Protocols are nothing but instructions. So different networks with the different protocols can communicate each other using gateway. Guys, another hardware component is repeater. So repeater is a device. By using the device, we can strengthen weak signals. So repeater will help weak signals to travel long distance. And ninth hardware component is media connectors. Guys, we need connectors in order to establish communication between network devices. I'll give an example. I want to connect a computer with router. So there is cable. And in order to connect a computer with router, we need connectors. Yes, for example, if you consider RJ45, it is one of the biggest pin. That pin will look like telephone pin. You can attach RJ45 pins to your cable and then you can connect to your CPU with router. So we need connectors in order to establish communication between network devices. Guys, there are various kinds of connectors like RJ45, BNC stands for British Novel Connector, and T connector and terminal connectors. Guys, we are not using BNC at present. They are used in older networks. And if you consider T connector, it is used in coaxial cables. And if you consider terminal connectors, they are used in fiber optic cables. Thus, all these are various kinds of hardware components, or we also call it as hardware devices used in computer networks. Next, I will explain various types of network connections. Guys, we also call network connections as transmission technologies. There are 2 types of network connections. There are point-to-point connection. We also call it as unicasting. And second one is multi-point connection. We also call it as broadcasting. At first, I will explain what is point-to-point connection, that is unicasting. Guys, in unicasting, 2 devices will communicate each other. Either communication can be wired or wireless. Wired mean they can use wires or cables for communication, and wireless mean they can use microwaves or satellite connection for communication. Guys, in point-to-point connection, only 2 devices will communicate each other. For example, TV remote and TV. Remote will send signals to only single TV. As only 2 devices are involved, this is unicasting. And next I will explain what is multi-point connection. We also call it as broadcasting. Guys, in broadcasting, many devices will communicate each other. All these devices can share information. For example, this computer wants to send how are you to this computer. Guys, in network, data is divided into packets. This how is considered as one packet, R is considered as one packet, and U is considered as one packet. So in network, data is divided into packets. They are nothing but parts. Guys, whenever this computer sends how are you to this computer, guys, this information is passed to each and every computer connected to this network. Guys, each packet contains MAC address of receiver. So along with this message, this computer will include this receiver MAC address. Even though message is forwarded to each and every computer in the network, only receiver with correct MAC address, only correct receiver can read that message. So in multi-point connection, a device sends a packet that is nothing but small parts of message, and all devices receive it, but only the device that requires will take it. The packet has a address field. That message will contain MAC address of the receiver, which tells which device must read that message. Guys, multi-point connections are classified into 2 types. They are broadcasting and multicasting. I already explained what is broadcasting. That is, each packet is sent to each and every device in the network. So all devices will get that message. Even though message is sent to all devices, only receiver will take that message. This is broadcasting. And next one is multicasting. Guys, in multicasting, message will not be forwarded to each and every computer, message will be sent to only particular computers. As for example, this computer want to send message to this computer and to this computer. So message will be forwarded to only these two computers. These remaining two computers will not receive that message. This is multicasting. Guys, these are various transmission technologies. Next I will explain what is magnetic media. Magnetic media are storage devices. These devices are used in computers, banks and industries to save large amount of data. Guys, these are examples of magnetic media. And the first one is hard disk drive. Shortly we call it as HDD. Guys, we will use hard disk in computers to store files. And second one is floppy disk. Guys, in older computers, we use floppy disk for storing small files. And third one is magnetic tapes. Guys, olden days in banks and software companies, we used magnetic tape for storing data. Guys, there are two types of magnetic media. One is magnetic disk and second one is magnetic tape. Guys, in magnetic disk, we will store data and it is made up of round metal plate or plastic and it is covered with magnetic layer. And in magnetic disk, data is stored as tiny magnetic spots. Magnetic disk example is hard disk that we use in our computer. Guys, in magnetic disk, when you store your data, the data is stored in the form of zeros and ones. And to open your file, this computer will read zeros and ones. These are advantages of magnetic disk. And the first one is fast. Guys, it is very easy to see, copy data in magnetic disk. And second one is stores large amount of data. In magnetic disk, we can store huge amount of data, that is in TBs. And third one is direct access. Guys, directly we can copy files in hard disk. And directly we can open that files without searching. These are advantages of magnetic disk. And second magnetic media is magnetic tape. Yes, magnetic tape is nothing but it is long plastic ribbon coated with magnetic layer. Mainly these tapes are used in banks and companies for storing data. As for example, if you consider old cassettes, there is plastic ribbon coated with magnetic layer where we will store data in the tapes. This data is stored in long sequence like video tape. If you want to find any file in magnetic tape, then you need to move tape forward or backward in order to search that file. These are advantages of magnetic tape. And the first one is cheap. Guys, when compared to hard disk, magnetic tapes are cheaper. And second one is reusable. Guys, we can erase data and we can add new data in magnetic tapes. And third one is good for backup. Guys, you can store multiple copies of your data as backup in magnetic tapes. And these are disadvantages. And the first one is slow. Guys, if you want to find data, you need to forward or rewind tape in order to find data. So it is slow. And second disadvantage is it cannot open files quickly when compared to hard disk. These are disadvantages of magnetic tape. Next I will explain what are power lines. Guys, power lines are nothing but they are thick cables that will carry electricity from power stations to houses, offices and industries. Guys, these are examples of power lines. And the first one is electrical wires. Guys, we will use electric wires in houses for lights, fans and TVs. High voltage cables. Guys, we will use high voltage cables on roads for carrying electricity from power plants. And third one is telephone cables. These cables are used to carry telephone signals.